Welcome back to God Speaks. It's long time overdue that I make this video. I promised this video a long time ago. I never did get around to making it, so here it is. This video is entitled My Trip to Hell. The message/warning of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. So, first of all, let's look at the metaphysics of hell itself. Some people believe that hell doesn't exist, that it's not a real place. Many people believe this. Many people believe that it does exist, that it is a real place. Many people have experienced it in one way or another through near-death experiences or actual death experiences, but then they came back to life. What I mean by that is near-death meaning they almost died or it was a short period of time and then they came back, versus people who were dead and then came back. They were dead for a while, came back, a while being like hours, a day or more. They came back to tell about it. Why does hell exist? Hell exists because we believe it exists. We've been taught that it exists. If hell has made it to your subconscious mind's acceptance, hell exists and there's a possibility you could go there. If you grew up with absolutely no notion of hell and hell never made it into your subconscious mind as an existence or possibility, you most likely would not experience such a thing. The concept of hell has made it into many people's subconscious mind and psychology. Hell was created both by us, ourselves, and the mirror side of this reality, the other realms. Hell was actually created as a mercy. Hell is a place where we get to understand what we've done and what we haven't done and what we could have done, and the guilt, the sorrow, the pain, the negativity that we felt and held for all of those things that bogged us down in life and would hamper our further evolution if we took that into other lifetimes. And so it's a place where we can review those things, experience them firsthand, not only reliving doing those things, but experiencing those things happening to ourselves so that we can really understand on a full level, what that does and what it's like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. As well as just, getting whatever it is that we feel deep-seatedly we deserve. It's a place where a higher portion of ourselves punishes ourselves. We punish ourselves until we feel better about all of that, and until we grow and move beyond it, and until we're ready to forgive ourselves and forgive others and release all of that negative attachment to it. It is a place which seems like an eternity, feels like forever, and in experience it actually is. But it's not an actual forever place, except for those who have deteriorated so much in their evolution that they are literally anchored to, bound to it, and in the process of actually dissolution, being completely dissolved, in which they will not come back and exist in the manner in which they did before as that spirit being. That portion of themselves would be completely dissolved, and their higher, pure part of their spiritual being would have to take on a new soul and a complete blank slate and have a complete new incarnation and set of lifetime experiences, being completely erased of anything from before. That experience is called the second death, in which everything that was you, the accumulation of all lifetimes which made up you, your soul, which carries all that information from time to time to time to time, is completely wiped out of existence, and you cease to be as yourself. That is the second death. The first death is the death of the body, but the second death is the death of the soul. Now, unfortunately, the spirit can never die, but a spirit without the same soul is not the same being at all. But for most beings, this process of rehabilitation, which is really what it is, a process of rehabilitation, takes its toll and works after a while, and then you get released. And having dealt with a large portion of this karma, so to speak, in hell, you now have freed yourself enough to begin incarnating again and moving towards spiritual evolution again. That makes it seem like, oh, well, cool, hell, it's not so bad. You don't want to go to hell. Okay, like I said, it's a terrible place. It's a horrific place. It is everything that they have said and more, and it experientially wise, it does feel like and seem like and will be for you an eternity. No matter how short of a time has actually passed on our earth time or level, or how long of a time has passed, it will seem to be an eternity. You don't want to go there. You don't want to pass on having a lot of negativity weighing down your heart, mind, and soul. Whether it's guilt, shame, regret, whatever it is. You don't want that. So I'm not trying to butter it up in any kind of a way and make it sound sweet, because it's really not. So it exists as a place that we co-created for ourselves as a mercy for rehabilitation. Without hell, it would almost be impossible to evolve out of this situation that we're in. It would take a ridiculous amount of, probably an innumerable amount of lifetimes, for you to clear up all of your karmic debt, because we as human beings, we do a great job of creating karma. We do a great job of creating things that need to be balanced. And so without this place to go handle a lot of it in for a period of time, you would never be able to, nobody would make it. So hell is a place of rehabilitation, a really harsh, hard one at that. So that's why hell exists. It also exists to completely take out of existence those beings who are the worst of the worst and have no goal at all of evolution, but just want to wreak havoc and destroy and, have no higher point and purpose but to be evil. So hell would take care of those entities after a while, for sure. Now that we have a greater grasp on hell, let's talk about how I got there. Well, it was about a week long of demonic manipulation and mind control that manifested in the forms of ideas, songs, certain things on the TV, These discarnate beings have a way of being able to look into our level of existence from the outside and being able to make little teeny adjustments and pushes in certain ways of getting you to think certain things in certain ways at certain times, and also getting certain parts of reality to stick out more than normal. It's called analog marking in psychology, to make certain messages actually stick out of your reality so that it imprints harder on your subconscious mind. They have the ability to formulate or to take an end result, okay, an end result idea, something that they want to manifest in your life, and fragment it down into piece by piece by piece by piece by piece of ideas throughout a certain period of time that, when all said and done, will come together as a whole and interlock into the full picture of the idea that they want you to act out or to do. This is the basics of actually, what we do in communications and things like that, and hypnosis. It's mind control, but it's mind control on a lot higher of a level. Okay, it's mind control on a whole other level. And so in this way, you finally get this idea, and it seems great, and it seems like it's your idea, and it seems like it came from you, and you act out on it, only to find out sometimes that it was a terrible idea. And most of the time to never realize that it was never your idea. You were influenced, you were manipulated, you were pawned, honed, you were used. You were at the brunt of a joke from other forces. If it was a negative experience, malevolent forces. Now, don't get me wrong, higher positive forces do the same thing in order to cause your greater good. But understand that tools are tools. They in and of themselves are not good nor evil. It is the one utilizing the tool and the intent in which they have for its use that makes it do something positive or negative, or cause a positive or negative reaction. And so something like hypnosis or mind control or persuasion and those things in and of themselves, they're tools. Those tools could be used if mastered and at the helm of a positive individual who had great intentions. Those tools could be used to move the entire world in towards peace and love and positivity and awesome times. Just as well as a malevolent individual could use those tools to do whatever the heck he wanted, bad stuff. Okay, so let's not judge the tools, but understand how they're being used and how they can be used. Okay, so throughout a week long of an experience, I found myself in school suspension. It's probably about 10th grade. And I was a little gothic back then. I had a gothic girlfriend. And, I would just be like, psst. And I would like call her from across the room with a little psst. And she would look up at me. And I would take the string on my coat, on my pea coat, and I would pull it down. It was one of those stretchy ones that had the little knob at the end you could push and zzz, right? I would stretch it down and I'd be like, and I would play with her like that. This went on for about 2-3 days. There was this record that they were advertising on MTV, one of those CD compilations with a whole lot of different songs on it. And one of them, to this day, it just sticks out. And of course, it had to stick out because there was a guy in a weird, pirate looking, no, sailor looking, no, I don't know, some kind of sea captain type hat. It was like weird. And he's sitting in a rowboat, a canoe, and he's in the middle of a supermarket. Some of you may know what I'm talking about. And he's rowing, and he's singing, "They're coming to take me away. Ha-ha, they're coming to take me away." I found it hilarious. It got stuck in my head. I found myself actually singing the song at the dinner table around a large group of guests more than once. And I was laughing away. I just thought it was hilarious. This is like over a span of days. Now, mind you, I wasn't putting it together. I didn't know what was going on. Only later in introspection, actually backtracking, was I able to put it together and see how the whole idea got into my head in the first place. There was a late night movie that came on TV called The McPherson Family Abduction Tapes. It was supposedly, and you can look this up on YouTube, it's very interesting, actually. To this day, I kind of believe it was real, that it really happened. But, maybe it was just one of those first-person camera movies, too. But it impacted me deeply, and in this video, you see an entire family get abducted by aliens over a period of time. And, let's see what else. If I can try to find out some more of these suggestions. There was some more, but I don't want to take too much time trying to go over every little detail little idea that was put into my head that formed this greater overall picture. But the point is that all these suggestions had the connotation of leaving the body, being taken away, death, drastic change of your physical embodiment situation. If you look at the theme running through them all, and specifically, hanging was in there. So at the end of a week of this hardcore manipulation, somehow, some way, I was in a boarding school at the time, actually, and I was living in a house full of boys, and there was a house mother and a house father, and we had chores to do. Somehow, throughout the whole month or two that we had moved into this new house, I vacuumed all over my room, but I never vacuumed under a certain chair that was there. So the day that I got this great idea, I think it was mischief night, or it was some kind of weird day, or there's something kind of spawned it, like, oh, this would be a great time to play a prank on my roommate right now. Okay, because I had a roommate sitting across from me. We lived in the same room. His bed was across from me, his desk was across from me, etc., etc. And so the day that I got the idea, just so happened that my house father came in my room before I went to school that day and said, "Missed a spot under your chair. You got a vacuum under there." Now, the way my room was situated, I had my bed here, closet here, some drawers, a mirror, his closet. Next to the bed, I had a rack hanging up where I could hang clothes and things. And then I had a desk and a window right there. Across from there was his bed and his desk, and then the door. So I moved the chair. Now remember, I had been vacuuming in this room for about 2 whole months, never vacuumed under the chair, never moved the chair. Takes about 30 plus days for something to sink into your subconscious, usually, unless with advanced techniques of mind control, it slipped in right away. So the day that I came up with this great idea, the chair wasn't in the place that it usually was. Something made my house parent tell me to move that chair on that exact day. Well, I got home from school that day, and it was homework time and whatever, but I got this idea, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna play this prank on my roommate. It's gonna be so awesome. Oh yeah. When I got the idea, it was a complete wholly formed idea, a complete thought form. Like the puzzle pieces had all come together, and I got the entire idea in one moment. I knew it all. I was going to take the top sheet off my bed. I was going to flurl it up and tighten it up. I was going to put it over the rack next to my bed. Okay. And I was going to put it over my neck, and I was going to sit in the chair and act like I was hung. And I was going to play it really, really well. Great video for Halloween time coming up. I was going to do it really, really well. Try to scare the bejeebus out of him. He was doing his homework. He wasn't paying attention. Actually, as time went on, he wasn't paying attention. He was eerily not paying attention. Otherworldly forces were at work. So, I mean, I was able to take the sheet off my bed, twirl it up, wrap it over the rack. And as I'm doing so, now mind you, I was also guided during this time. As I'm doing it, and I tied the knot at the bottom, I was going to put my head on the knotted part, and the voice in my head, which I thought was my voice, said, "No, put the knot at the top. Put the sheet part under your neck. It'll look more realistic." I'm like, "Oh yeah." So I put the knot part at the top. I go to put the loopy sheet part under my neck, and as I do so, my voice in my head was like, "No, no, no. Twist it around, make it shorter, make it tighter, twist it around, and then put your neck in the little part that's left so it's all twirled up at the top and it looks even more real." Oh yeah, that makes sense. That sounds good. All right, this is good. Yeah, this is gonna be awesome. Freaking twirl it around. Okay, put my neck in it. Now this all is about a good 8 minutes as I'm setting all this up and making this happen. Roommate never once looked up from his bed, never once looked up from his book, didn't pay attention, didn't see anything that I was doing. He was right there. Put my neck inside. And now I'm supposed to sit in the chair. So I'm going to sit in the chair, okay, and hang low in the chair, slump down, and act like I'm hung, okay? That was what was supposed to happen. So I go to sit down in the chair, but of course, the chair wasn't where it was. Now, somehow, the entire time I was setting it up, I never noticed that that I had moved the chair to the edge of the wall. To the edge of the wall. And that it wasn't next to my bed under the rack directly where it usually was the last 2 months. For the first time ever, the chair was not where it usually was. And I actually, literally, really, truly did sit down in an empty space, effectively, actually cutting off the blood flow to my brain and actually hanging myself, which was not the plan. Not the plan at all. There I am up against the wall. Okay, I can breathe because, my legs are still on the ground, but all of this was completely cut off. Now, here's a funny thing. I'm remembering something else. We also used to play this stupid game. Only ever did it start and come up in that house. The choke you out game. I don't know if you remember this, and don't do this at home. Don't do this to anybody. It's very dangerous. You can kill somebody or cause them massive brain damage. I wonder if that's what's wrong with me. No. But seriously though, where people actually take their hands and cut off the blood flow to your brain on purpose as a joke, watch you pass out, oftentimes not catch you, and you bang your head on the floor and you feel stupid, and then you wake up and you're all shaking and you come back. It was a stupid game to play, but we were doing that not too long as well, off and on during the 2 months that we moved into this new house. There's another suggestion for you right there. I didn't think about that one all these years until now, but it was there. So here I am. I'm slumped up against the wall. The blood flow is cut off. I'm seeing spots. And all I actually had to do was push up against the wall and push myself up, or call the whole thing off and yell out, say something to my roommate. Now, at this time, my voice in my head was saying, don't panic, you're gonna ruin everything. He's gonna see, he's gonna know. Find the chair, where's the chair? My thoughts were being directed against my better judgment and will. And I'm like, yeah, don't panic. Yeah, where's the chair? Why is this happening? I don't understand. Where's the chair? I'm seeing spots now. What's in front of me is starting to blur and disappear And the last thing I remember before I lost consciousness is looking over and seeing the chair and being like, oh yeah. Blackness. Blackness. Now, this is where it gets really heavy. I found myself floating on the ceiling looking down in the room. There I was, hung. There my roommate was, still in his book, completely oblivious to anything. And I started to hear this churning, grinding, swirling sound. Like a drain was being opened up. And on the floor, a black hole. Don't know how else to put it. Like in the Acme cartoons, a little black hole appeared. And the reality of that room began to slowly suck into it and churn into it. And a vacuum was created. And my spiritual being, my soul, was being pulled into it. And the hole was widening and widening. And I was trying to stay away from it, but I couldn't. And I got sucked into this black hole. As I got sucked into the hole, it opened up into a tunnel. And in the tunnel were mixed colors of black and grays and, red streaks of lightning and howling and wailing and moaning and scratching and clawing and clawed hands reaching through the veil of the tunnel every now and then, grasping at me, and demonic faces howling through the tunnel, screaming past me, and laughter, cackling, and it was a horrendous, hellish gateway to the land of the damned. And I remember I passed through it finally, and I broke through dark clouds of a sky, and I fell and I slammed down into the ground. The ground looked like the salt flats of Las Vegas. It was hard, cracked. It was very flat and hard, little rocks and bumps here and there. The ground had cracks in it, etched in different ways at times. And it was like the surface of Mars almost, like orangey, reddish kind of. There was a smell of sulfur and smoke. You could hear wailing and screaming and all kinds of noises in the background. And forever, when I tell the story, I call it the lobby of hell, because it wasn't the part of hell where like the actual torture and reliving of experiences and, paying back of debts was happening. But it was like, I guess the part you go to, like, where they're like, okay, welcome to hell now. I don't know. I call it the lobby because it was just outside of all that, but you could hear it. Like, you knew it was going on. And like, I was looking around, and I'm like, now mind you, I was in 10th grade, I had barely lived life. I never did anything that I could possibly even remotely think deserved going to hell for. So actually, I really don't know why I went there, but later I was told. So I'm down there, and I was in disbelief. I was in disbelief and I was in denial. I'm like, as soon as I arrived and I got up on the ground and looked around and smelled and listened, and yes, there are flames. There's fire. There's definitely fire and lava and magma. Absolutely. That's there too. I knew where I was, but I was in denial. I was like, no. I was like, no. I was like, this is not happening. This is not for real. This can't be for real. And, I'm backing up and I'm looking around, and where I was a vast expanse. It was like almost never ending too. It seemed like it just went on forever. But in one direction, it didn't seem like, nothing was that way. But in the other direction was where all the hell was. So as I was in disbelief and denial, and I'm backing away and trying to slowly figure things out and escape from here, I heard this bell going dong, 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 dong. I'm like, what is this sound? And I looked in the direction of it, and there was a tower, a large tower, and in the tower was a skeletal figure in a black cloak. And I only know it was a skeletal figure in a black coat because my senses were all heightened in this realm. Like, I looked at the tower, it was far away and I couldn't see, but I wanted to see, and so it was like my eyes zoomed in on it, and I could see it was a skeletal figure in a black cloak, and he was pulling on a rope that was dinging a bell in the top of this tower. Dong, dong, dong. And he never stopped dinging it, but he turned his head towards me and he pointed with his bony finger like this. And when he did, I heard a raspy voice in my head say, almost in a mocking kind of a way, like, yeah, this is where you're at. It said, Hell's Bells. I lost my... I lost it. I freaked out. Here was confirmation that I was in hell. I thought I was a goner. I thought I was done, dead, not coming back, and worst of all, in hell. Lost my mind. I ran the opposite way of where all that stuff was going on, into the nothingness. I was trying to get away. As I'm trying to get away, the ground underneath me started moving backwards to the exact proportion of my speed of running, so that I effectively was not going anywhere. It took me a while to actually figure out that was the case. And then I did, and that was the case. I wasn't going anywhere. That was horrifying to realize as well, but I didn't stop running. I figured if I could outrun it, maybe I'd get off this conveyor belt and I'll be moving again. It was at that point that I started to hear these hoofs. Gaining on me, getting louder and louder. At first, off in the distance, I really couldn't make out what it was, just shadows and this sound. But as it got closer and it got closer, I could see one by one by one the horses, the different color horses and their riders. And these were the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. I lost it further. I started running faster than I'd ever could in normal life. Supernatural speed took over me, and I was Speedy Gonzalez on a conveyor belt, moving exactly as fast as I was running, not going anywhere, but flying nowhere. Finally, as they finally got ganged up on me, the conveyor belt of the ground stopped, and I was flung forward into mysteriously a brick wall, a giant brick wall that came up out of the ground out of nowhere, and I slammed into it. Wow! Turned around, and the 4 horsemen are there. Each one reared up. They all reared up at me. Each one had a different thing in his hand. It was just like it said in the Bible, and I don't even... how that got in there, I don't even know, but it was exactly like it was said. And I was terrified. And they gave me a mission, and they gave me a warning. They said that it wasn't my time to die, and that my place was not to be in hell, but that I had gone there to realize, not only for myself, but many other people, that hell is real and does exist, number one. And there is a potential of going there, number two. And that you don't want to go there, number three. And most importantly, that they did not want to do what they were commissioned to do in Revelation. They told me that the scenarios in Revelations, the destruction, and all that they were supposed to bring about did not have to happen. They said that these things only come about because of humanity's refusal to listen to love and to promote and to live in love, peace, and harmony. They said that my mission was to go back and find as much information as I possibly could about how humanity could evolve, live in peace, love, and harmony, and make their mission obsolete. That I was to go back and do my best to stop the end of the world from happening by sharing their message and everything that I find, and by walking the path myself of evolution beyond the necessity of those things. They told me that if I was to succeed, and yes, they said if, because it's your choice. It's your choice. Every one of you, it's your choice. No one can make it for you. No one can make you listen. No one can make you listen. So they said if I was to succeed, then we could all usher in a new wave of peace, love, and harmony on the planet, and that the earth changes and the disasters and the negative situations and all the bad stuff wouldn't be so bad. And if enough people were on board with this positive energy, I found out later that was the answer, which is in this channel, but that enough people were on board and doing it, that they actually didn't even have to happen at all. They told me that if I failed, then the prophecies, which were only warnings, only probable futures, meaning most likely to happen because of the condition of humanity, not because it has to, but because of the condition of humanity. The warnings, the prophecies, those things, they would happen. And the four horsemen would have to do their job, even though they didn't want to. The mission was also to save many, many, many people from needlessly going to hell. They said hell would be filled to the brim if they did their jobs, overflowing with souls. And they didn't want it to be like that. Before I came back, each and every one of them jumped inside my body. And then I woke up. And the rest was crazy, in and out of consciousness, fighting off my roommate who took me off the noose. He said he looked up and saw my face purple, blue, and my tongue purple hanging out. I was dead, actually, for a little bit. I came back. I was in and out of consciousness. I fought off him, fought off the house father, fought off a couple other people. Finally, they took me to the hospital. Next thing you know, I'm waking up. Family's in there. Everybody's asking me, was I on drugs? Was I trying to kill myself? Why did I do it? And all these things. And I'm like, guys, I wasn't trying to kill myself. Like, no, I'm not on drugs. Like, it wasn't even like that. It was nothing like that. And then trying to work out in my head how it even all happened in the first place. So that's my trip to hell and the warning and the message of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Hopefully you listen. I wish it could all be sunshine and rainbows, guys. I wish it could all be sunshine and rainbows. But the truth is not always pretty. And when someone really, truly cares about you, they tell you the things that you don't want to know or hear. They tell you, they pull you to the side and say, hey, man, you got a booger in your nose right there. Get a booger in your nose right there. And then you sit there and you go, dang, I wonder how many hours that booger's been in my nose and nobody told me it. You know why those people didn't tell you? I'm going to tell you because I care about you. I love you. So that's what happened. Take it how you want to take it. It was a very real experience for me. And it may or may not be relevant to you. But I look around at the world and all the things going on in it. And they've been going on for quite some time now and seemingly getting more and more and more crazy. And I don't know. Was it true? Is it real? I think so. Can you stop it? Yes. Will you? I hope so. I hope you listen. I hope you get the point. This has been God Speaks. Have a great day.